My parents were both migrants first to the UK in the 60s, not educated, so worked in agriculture. My father was not able, I don't think he could write in Punjabi, my mother could. So limited education, came to the UK looking for a new life, and I'm one of 4 siblings. The expectations were we can achieve it at school, that would be great. There wasn't a huge amount of support for that actually, with neither of them speaking English. And then I realised very early on in the lessons that my father taught that if I didn't educate myself, it would be quite a hard existence. So I went off and I did exactly that.
Tell us more about that.
So I left home at 17. I didn't have my A-levels at that stage, worked as a nurse for 3 years and trained as a nurse for 3 years, during which time I then got my A-levels, always wanting to pursue a career in dentistry. I had an uncle in dentistry, and I went on to do my dental degree with a Bachelor of Science in Pathology and got a first taste of academia. But part of that training process is that we get experience in maxillofacial surgery, and that's when I got an appetite for becoming a maxillofacial surgeon. But in the UK, maxillofacial surgeons are medically and dentally qualified, so I had to go back and get my medical degree.
And you did that all yourself? You funded yourself in that journey?
Yeah, every little step up gave me a source of income that allowed me to progress to the next bit. When I decided I wanted to be an academic, again, going back to university, getting a PhD in the middle of my higher surgical training, I had a salary as a fellow with research fellowships. But the stepping stone was that I knew I needed to fund my way through, and the way to fund my way through that was to be able to get some qualifications that allowed me to work in the evenings and weekends and during the summer holidays.
Yeah. And through all of that, with everything that you shared of your parents and the family, how did that shape you as a person? Because I am assuming you stood out, right? Among your schoolmates, about college mates, everything you did, you stood out. How did that shape you as a person?
And so there's a couple of parts to this. Culturally, it was quite a challenge for my parents for somebody who was going to deviate from the norm. And the norm would have been working locally, living in the family home, getting married in an arranged marriage. And so it was quite a challenge for them to understand that I wanted something that my siblings all did follow that very traditional route. But I think eventually they realized the benefits of an education like the one that I've had. And of course, there's a lot of significance to these kinds of careers amongst the Indian communities. They put a lot of prestige behind that. So managed to convince them, when I managed to get through and achieve, that it was the right thing for me.
And for you personally, how was that experience? Was it a confusing time, or was it like more of a confidence boosting, like independence?
I did reflect back upon that. So 17 is very young to leave home. I'm not sure I'd want my children at that age to be leaving home and getting a job. But you just have a lot of life experiences. You're seeing, particularly in a hospital environment, everything from childbirth all the way up to the end of life experience, and developing skills in working in a team, communication skills, interpersonal skills, allowed me to, throughout all of these degrees, develop the confidence to be able to take on the next challenge and hurdle.